last night we actually had frost warning, and it got down to 1 degree. Hi everyone, so it's been a couple of weeks, so we thought we would do an update on what we've been doing and what's been going on.
We've had quite a bit going on.
We had quite a lot of little projects that sort of don't warrant like a full video on their own as yet.
Yeah.
But certainly are projects.
Yeah.
One of the things we did as soon as we got back actually was we planted a couple of smaller seeds, just some peas and beans in the garden on the property. So in this little clearing, I shouldn't call it a garden, it's a little space that we cleared.
We cleared it last year, and it was where we sort of, I guess, started/finished plants that we didn't get last year, but that had nothing to do with the garden. That was to do with the timing.
But so we got some peas and some beans in there, and those are starting to come up. And you'll notice we actually have them covered in pop bottles for a couple of reasons. One, because it's like a greenhouse, and we've actually had, I mean, today is the 21st. Today is June 21st, so it's summer solstice, the longest day. But last night we actually had frost warning, and it got down to 1 degree. So we sort of kept them covered to try and protect them, and so far,
and also just the other elements too.
Yeah, it's sort of protected them so far. The only thing that hasn't protected them from is a moose that seems to like to chew on them. So fortunately only 2 or 3 of the bottles got damaged, but we do see some life in there. We see some stuff growing in there, so that's great.
Yeah, and actually when we were in there, some of the leaves were looking really quite big inside them, so I was pretty happy to see that.
So soon hopefully we'll be able to just take those off. The other reason why we're sort of holding off on that is because of caterpillars, because this is the time of year that the caterpillars, the tent caterpillars, which you may recall last year were sort of like a horror movie kind of scenario, are supposed to be out. And actually they were out earlier last year.
Yeah, last year they turned up at the very end of May.
Yeah.
And sort of looking through photos and stuff, I think by this time last year they were gone already. So we may, I don't know, we may have bypassed them this year.
We're not sure, because
I mean, winter was pretty harsh.
Yeah. And long. It was pretty long. So,
and they're not meant to come back every year. Like it's sort of they do a couple of years and then they're gone for a long time and then they come back again. So I mean, maybe it is just the end of that cycle there.
We'd be very happy if that's the case, because those are just
it was
gross.
Brutal.
Yeah. I mean, like I can handle snakes and just about anything, but those things are just absolutely vile. So we're quite happy if they don't come back. But we also have seeds that we started in here. Not a ton, but we got tomatoes and a couple of herbs and some peppers going, and nasturtiums and
cucumbers for my pickles, because I'm really excited about my pickles.
I have some squashes going as well. And all stuff we're going to be clearing spaces for. Yeah. So speaking of clearing spaces, one of the other projects we've been doing is we put together a tiny little alcove just out of 3 pallets just to make a space for compost. So we have a compost patch where we can just dump stuff that we're trimming and things like that. And we spend a lot of time basically cutting grass. Ready.
There is an awful lot of grass to cut.
There really is, surprisingly. We've spent a lot of time cutting grass, basically for a couple of reasons. Obviously, one, because we want to make sure that it's clear and easier to walk on. But there's an awful lot of grass, and we're cutting that for 2 reasons. One, obviously, because it's grass and we can't see what's down there, but mainly because we really want to dry out areas on the path and on the spot where the camper is going to be moved to. So we're hoping that will dry out in the next couple of weeks, although today, of course, it is raining, which you may be able to hear on the audio. And we're expecting a major thunderstorm on Monday where it's going to be like 33 degrees. And they're forecasting a giant thunderstorm. So, but that's Monday. So we're hoping that this rain doesn't basically undo all the heavy lifting that the sun's been doing to dry stuff out.
And actually, it has been drying out quite a bit, like especially this last week. Everything's kind of, well, you can kind of cleanly walk on stuff now. So it's, I don't know how, I don't think it's quite ready for the truck yet, but definitely for walking in and out, it's doing well.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's the main reason why we've been cutting grass, is to get the ground to dry. And
also, I mean, it just kind of looks nicer.
It looks, yeah, it does look nicer too. Other things that we've been working on, I'm starting to create a couple of pathways, just very simply laying trees that we've cut, mostly the ones we cut last year, but we'll be using some of the ones we cut this year. Just to sort of like line pathways in for various reasons. Some to make little spots where we could just sort of go and chill.
Yeah.
And hang out, but also just to navigate through some areas of the property.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that, and Sandy has been working on clearing the main road. So if you recall from the map, and I'll drop a screenshot of the map again, we've got this sort of like long pathway, roadway, whatever you want to call it, that was cleared, and that the growth there isn't as tall as the rest. And the plan is that we do eventually clear that completely. But right now,
we're well, I mean, it's sort of a thing of like, it's the same pathway that we were working on last year, clearing, just the continuation of that. But the difference is this year, like, this first section of the path really needed to be opened, widened, whatever, so that we can get the camper, the truck, all of that stuff through there. The remainder of it that we're clearing now, it ultimately needs to be like that, but this year it doesn't have to. It's more just about having a path that we can walk through and basically get to the end of our property.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do that because there's the heavier growth is further in that way. So I mean, it's
and older growth.
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to be looking at for when we're building a cabin. The stuff leading in there is all fine, I think, for firewood and whatever else. But in terms of the actual cabin, we need something that's a bit more developed. So we're just kind of trying to get the pathway cleared there. But again, it's just it's the walking path. It's not a driving path, and so I mean, it's not going to be the same kind of major undertaking as last year clearing this section of the path.
Which was major. I mean, it really was huge. So
And I mean, we're already, well, looking at the map yesterday and where we're pretty sure we ended up leaving off, I mean, we've made a pretty significant dent there in a not very large amount of time.
It's very hard to tell because the GPS doesn't work great when there's no signal and no connection. Yeah. So you're sort of like kind of guesstimating a lot of it. So, as we get further in and as we have more time to explore more, we'll start actually doing measurements. It's one of the things that we haven't done is measurements. I've been trying to identify some of the trees around us, which has been proving quite difficult. Yeah. I took a photograph of one tree and I put it was quite a far away picture, and the app said, oh, it's this. And then I took a slightly closer up picture and it said, oh no, it's this. And then I took another picture and then it says, no, it's not that, it's this. And it's like now I have 4 different ideas of what this one tree could be. So that's really difficult. And so if anyone knows an app that's like 100% accurate, please let me know. Yes. That'd be great. Because it really is frustrating, like not knowing 100% sure what the trees are. Because some of them, are really good trees that we really want, and there's other trees that, we want to get rid of, or not get rid of, but at least cull down. Yeah. And it's not about we're not trying to clear cut here at all. We're trying to be strategic and sort of open it up a bit more to make most of the land usable or at least walkable, and give us some more light and air in there. You know, so it's a long-term project, sort of stewarding the land, as it were. Yes. But yeah, so really, those are the sort of projects that we've been up to.
Well, one thing I'm going to say, just because my aunt in Scotland had actually asked about this, and I forgot to respond when I was responding to her, but it's also just kind of topical for things here. She had been asking since we've been back, what are we doing how are we dealing with our water supply here? Is it the same as last year, or are we doing anything different? So far, it's basically been the same as what we did last year. We're filling the jugs in town for our drinking water. And our sort of dishwater, shower water, cleaning water, what have you, that we're collecting outside, and I think we're probably getting a good portion today.
Yes.
But yeah, so we're basically we haven't been down to the stream yet for anything, but we haven't really had to yet, so it's not a big deal. And we actually have a lot more of the water jugs this year coming back than we did when we were here last year, so we have a bit more storage capacity at the moment.
We really want to get some IBC totes, but that's a matter of sort of like waiting for funds to build up for that. Yeah. So that's a longer term project, but definitely by winter we want to have at least 2, if not more, of those. So that's a whole project in itself and a whole thing in itself. But yeah, so. We're doing okay for water.
Yeah, for right now it's been working well.
Certainly because we've had quite a lot of rain. Yeah. So which has been kind of unexpected and frustrating at times, because it does stop us from going out and using chainsaw and things like that, and the weed whacker and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's really frustrating. But we're doing okay for water. Any other things?
I don't think there's anything too major.
I don't think so either. I have a great memory. It's really short. We still need to organize a live, and we will do that in the coming weeks. But we'll let you guys know when we're planning to do that. So keep an eye on the social media, and please remember that if you haven't already, sign up for our Patreon. That link is down in the description of this video. We post a lot of stuff there, sort of day-to-day pictures and cool things that we see, and things like that you won't see anywhere else. And there is a free level, so you can sign up for the free level, or if you are so inclined, you can subscribe for as little as $10 a month, which every penny of which goes to help us keep doing what we're doing. And we appreciate your contributions to our dreams. It really does mean a lot to us. So other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching, and until the next video.